The silverware clinked against plates, laughter spilling across the long table. My birthday brunch. My family all around me, pretending nothing was fractured. Then Grandpa leaned back in his chair, glass raised. His eyes softened when they met mine. "I'm glad you're enjoying the apartment I bought you." My blood froze. I whispered just loud enough to slice the air. "I live in a basement." The room collapsed into silence. My father's fork slipped, clattering against porcelain. My mother's smile stiffened, frozen mid-laugh. Every cousin, aunt, and uncle stared at me as if I had shattered glass across the tablecloth. I watched the color drain from my father's face. Finally. I was 13 when they shoved me into that basement. They said it was temporary, that money was tight. The truth was simpler. I was inconvenient. I remember hearing muffled laughter from the floors above while I curled under thin blankets. They lived well. New cars, vacations, a remodel for the kitchen. Meanwhile, I showered under rusty pipes and studied by a flickering bulb. But I survived. Quiet, invisible, until Grandpa visited one Christmas and asked to see my new place. My father deflected. My mother giggled. I stayed silent, trained by fear. That was the first crack in their facade. 15. I noticed documents left in the trash, letters from Grandpa, checks written out in my name, large amounts, too large for pocket money, each one signed with a shaky but determined hand. But the envelopes were never given to me. My parents intercepted everything. That's when it all clicked. Their sudden new cars, the expensive vacations, the smug way they looked at me when I asked for books or clothes. They weren't just neglecting me, they were stealing from me. I didn't rage. Rage was useless. Instead, I started collecting. Evidence, copies of bank statements, discarded envelopes, even recordings, little snippets of conversations I wasn't meant to hear. Patience became my weapon. By 21, I had pieced together the full picture. Grandpa had bought me an apartment, paid for it in full, a safe place where I was supposed to live. But my parents sold it behind his back, forged my signature, and funneled the money into their own accounts. That was the night my fury crystallized into clarity. I wouldn't confront them, not yet. I'd let them keep thinking I was weak, voiceless, beaten. I waited, planned. The turning point came when Grandpa's health began to fail. He called me into his study one evening, his voice frail but sharp. "I left you that apartment. Why aren't you living in it?" I didn't answer. I didn't have to. He saw the truth flicker in my eyes. That night I showed him everything. Scanned documents, forged deeds, the recordings. His hands trembled as he scrolled through it all. Then he looked up, eyes blazing despite his fragile body. "We'll fix this." So we did. With his lawyer, we built a case so airtight it could strangle. Forgery, theft, fraud. He rewrote his will, line by line, with surgical precision. Every stolen cent accounted for, every deception exposed. And he left instructions, clear, brutal. The truth would surface in front of the entire family. I didn't have to lift a finger. I only had to sit, watch, and wait. Which brings me back to my birthday brunch. The air was suffocating after my whisper. My mother tried to laugh it off. My father sputtered, "She's confused, Dad. You know how dramatic she can be." But Grandpa cut him off with a cough, then a sharp nod to his lawyer at the far end of the table. The man rose, pulled a folder from his briefcase, and laid it on the linen. "There's something everyone should hear." Pages shuffled, words spoken aloud, deeds, bank transfers, forged signatures. My parents' greed, naked under the morning light. The cousins shifted uncomfortably. My uncles glared. My mother's face drained of its smugness, replaced by a hollow terror. And my father? My father just stared at me, jaw slack, as if seeing me for the first time. By the time the lawyer finished, silence smothered the room. Then Grandpa spoke, voice thin but cutting. "You robbed my granddaughter. You stripped her dignity, her childhood. You thought you buried the truth in shadows, but shadows always vanish in light. The will was clear. Everything went to me. Every account, every property, every asset they once flaunted as their own. And them? Disinherited, exposed, left with nothing but shame. I sat still, composed, my hands folded in my lap. I didn't smile, I didn't gloat. I just watched. Watched as my father's shoulders collapsed, as my mother's eyes darted around, searching for an escape that wasn't there, as the entire family shifted away from them, disgust simmering in their stares. For once, I wasn't the one hidden in a basement. They were, buried in their own disgrace. Later that night, I stood by my window. City light